Hey guys, I have the great honor of having Jason Taylor all the way out in LA on Zoom.
LA, yes.
How are you,
Yes.
Jason?
What's going on, everybody? I'm good. I'm good. First, I want to thank you for having me, and thank you for this wonderful, kind time to speak with you.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to this, Jason. It's always fun talking with you. We're going to get to know you a little better, and also we're going to talk a lot about songwriting because you are a Grammy-winning songwriter.
Yeah.
I have actually had the privilege of watching you create songs as I've brought music students from Norway to take your songwriting classes in Los Angeles. And it's been absolutely phenomenal. And I know that we'll learn a lot from you today because you've promised to share some of your most fundamental tips for songwriting. And we'll get to hear some of the amazing music that you've created. But before we get to any of that, Jason, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Well, my name is Jason Taylor. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. I grew up in Chicago. That's where I really started to record and started to just kind of explore music. You know, my family really helped to foster that. My, grandmother in particular, she kept me in churches and she kept me in things that would, make that happen. And, the church really got me involved in music. So I was recording, when everybody else was getting in trouble, for staying out all night. I was staying out all night too, but I was at the studio all night. And so I remember getting, grounded, you can't go out for 3-4 days because I was at the studio all night, not telling nobody where I was. So from there to going to a school in Atlanta, when I Morehouse College, and I went there for music, and I quickly changed my major after the first year because Morehouse didn't necessarily have those particular programs. So I actually ended up doing most of the programming at Spelman College. Most of recording and all that actually happened at Spelman, and then I moved out here for my master's degree. And once I finished it, I just fell in love with LA. I fell in love with the opportunities that were sort of presenting themselves. I've been in now for about 12 years, and I've just rode the wave of LA. So that's a little bit about me.
And Jason, you're of course a very talented musician and pianist, and you've worked with a lot of famous artists, and they might know of Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Mali Music, and Ty Tribbett, and I've seen you sing with Stevie Wonder. I think that's pretty cool. Here's a clip of that. You have your school, tailor-made School of Music, where you teach songwriting as one of the subjects, and people can actually take a class online with you, and we'll get back to that at the end of the video. You've also traveled with us with GTM on a mission trip.
Yeah.
Several of them, actually. You've been to Norway, to Spain, and to Ecuador. Tell us a little bit about your experience with that.
So which country?
Let's do Ecuador, because that's pretty, you're the only one that actually has been to Ecuador with us.
Got it. Ecuador, well, first of all, once you get to South America, there is no English whatsoever. There's no speaking English anywhere. Everything is purely Spanish. So that was a whirlwind for me. But thank God I had Monet with me, because she actually translated everything for me. And I was able to fall into love with the people there, the kids there, the food there, the energy there. It was just so much love, so much kindness there. So we spent close to, I think, about a week there, and just getting an opportunity to, build the songwriting classes over there. and we actually split them off into groups. And I believe it was maybe like groups of, five each. And, what I did was I went around the room prior to splitting off those groups, and I just got to know everybody. And we actually took, our conversation, and we created a form of ideas, and, and we had things to come up with and things to talk about. It was a very intimate setting, but we took each group and we split it off into groups of 5, and then, had them create their own songs and had them create their own tunes. And then from there, brought it back together at the very end, and, had each group present, and then we put it all together. Once we did that, a lot of the kids had like tears in their eyes, as far as, just the idea that someone would take the time to get to know them and to create something from their life, to create something that they can keep. And it's not just something that I created. Obviously, it was them who created it. And we fostered that creativity, but to see their gratitude and to kind of see how much they loved it and enjoyed it. It was overwhelming. I mean, it's just something that I'll never forget. It stuck with me. And I actually brought it back to tweak it a little bit. And one of those methods became a part of my curriculum for Tailor-Made School of Music. We also did a really big concert there. And so we had, I think it was like 150 kids there. That just sang. And we had a ton of people coming, to the concert. So to kind of see us work at teaching them all the stuff and to like see it all come together. We also went to a bunch of, interviews as far as radio stations. I believe it was, Ecuador's top radio station. I had a chance to go there, not only to promote the songwriting and promote the concert, but we actually had a chance to promote Christ, right? We promoted Jesus there. And it was just an overall great trip. I mean, I, got closer to God during that trip, and I got closer to my goals with teaching songwriting.
The reason why they wanted you to come on this trip in the first place is that they had a choir, a social choir over in
right.
Ecuador, which is the age group of about 10 to 16-year-olds. And they really didn't have music in Spanish, like with their Latin style, that was not just translated from some songs from the Western world, but was their own genuine style of music, and also for teenagers or for that age group, 10 to 16-year-olds. And that's why they wanted some songwriters to come down there. So you and Monet went down there, and you were able to not only write some songs for them, but also teach them how to write. So out of that actually came an album, which I think is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah. So thank you so much for serving. We appreciate it so much. It means a lot to be able to sing songs to God and to worship Him, and in your own language and in your own style of music. Jason, will you share a little bit about how you came to Christ and how that has impacted your life?
So that sort of happened a couple times, especially growing up in the church. I grew up in a very spiritual home. My grandmother and my, uncles, kept us in church. There, I fell in love with music. I remember sitting on the front pew. I used to watch the piano player, who had a Hammond B3. He had a pipe organ. He had a grand piano. inside of like a huge square. And it was like boxed off. It was like a big Methodist church. And I used to see him go from instrument to instrument, just depending on what they would say. It was like a diverse Methodist church. So they would do the hymnals in the morning, and then they would, at the top, and then they would do, more like gospel-y, songs. And so I used to watch him as a little kid. I was like 6 years old. And I used to sit at I used to take my hands up under the pew, and I used to like pretend like they were, it was a piano. So that was just, I used to take that. I used to go home to my grandmother's white walls, and I used to play her white walls, and she used to kick me off because I used to make them dirty. So she finally bought me a, smaller keyboard. And first song, Lean on Me, and then Two Fingers, in the forehead, so that was my sort of journey with both music and God. I sort of found a relationship with God through music. When I was younger, I had a really bad stutter, and so as far as me communicating, sometimes I would either choose to be quiet, or I would choose to have my voice be music, both to God and to people. So that became a part of my expression, and it became a part of sort of my saving grace. But then it went deeper as I got older, and as I could speak more clearly. And that sort of happened during Chicago days when I was, there was a church on Wabash, Carter Temple, that my grandmother, again, she was a part of it first, and then they brought me in, and they asked me to come in and just help, with the choir stuff, and I went in because I was like, in the streets a little bit. And so it kind of helped me to kind of stay on that path. And so I went in and I started with the choir, and I just like fell in love with the church, fell in love with, the pastor. And it sort of, inspired me. But what happened was it went from me doing that to them asking me to like, be the youth minister and to actually speak, like, to actually preach, and they were televised. So that's when I started writing sermon. So one of the things that sort of helped me to find God and stay with God was the foundation that my grandmother and my uncle put. As I've been through a lot of different seasons of my life, including being agnostic, me being a education-driven type of person, of course, Paul, often addressed and talked about the idea that, unless you be drawn by the Holy Spirit, you can't enter into the kingdom. Because if you can be, intellect and reasoned in, you can be intellect and reasoned out. So I think it was a mixture of both, God getting my attention. And this is when my mother, she was on life support. I remember being in grad school. I was, finishing up my master's, and I was doing 50-page, 30-page papers. And I was flying back from LA to Chicago, not knowing if she was going to live or die. And that's when my God just really rocked me all over again. And that was just, it was a pivotal point in my life. And this was, let me see, close to about maybe 8 years ago, I think, 8 or 9 years ago. I've been here 12 years. Yeah, so that was close to about 9 years ago. And since then, man, I've just been on a journey and a path to get closer to God, daily, and to also share that relationship that I have with God with the entire world, from those that listen to my music. Whether I'm doing sacred or secular music, my goal is to, keep the Spirit of God throughout everything that I do. Like, my relationship with God has journeyed through so many mountains and valleys, man, ups and downs, and God has been with me through every mistake and every relationship and every error and every victory, like, of my life. And so I wanted to present that in a body form, music body form. So it's very difficult to talk about God outside of, it's very difficult to talk about music outside of my relationship with God.
When did you get into writing songs? And
Yeah.
how's that process been up until this point, really?
So when I was younger, me and my cousin used to write these like crazy raps, just like 5-second raps, and like that's when I sort of, felt it start. And I used to hum and sing and create around the house. I remember like, especially when I was a teenager, but I used to sing all the time. And they, my family, like, man, if you don't shut that noise up, it's all the time, right? So I, kept doing it, kept creating, kept humming, kept getting on their nerves all the time. And it sort of, morphed and developed like over the years. So it wasn't okay, now I'm going to be a songwriter. It didn't really happen that way. Creatively, with my playing and with, me singing and me trying to get better, and getting put off of, pianos, getting put off of organs, at church, I used to get put off all the time. And I used to, have to sit there and watch, professionals come in. I used to look over their shoulders and just watch them. And as I was watching them, creative energy was just hitting me left and right. Just as a quick lesson, if you're in a learning stage and someone happens to put you off, or someone happens to close the door in your face or whatever, that's not a no. It's just a not right now. And it's also a great opportunity for us to like learn our craft, so that when that door does open, we can go in and kill it. So that's sort of, been my position, and that actually helped with my songwriting, with creating, is to not huff and puff and get, just crazy, upset and just to walk away. But I, just kept learning. So I remember when we moved to Chicago and I got this Rhodes, me and it got into a relationship with each other. Like me and my piano, just up all night writing, creating, from original songs to creating arrangements of other people's songs. And I just, was doing that all the time with different groups. With, we even started up a male group, me and my brothers, Cedric and Marcus, and we create just like these arrangements. And how kids are, like they're just so creative, man. So since your brain is just open, it's like you can do anything you want at that age. Like you're like Superman, So that's what happened to me with music. Just always being in the studio and being around creative people in Chicago, people that really helped to foster, like, so some of my closest brothers and my sisters, in Chicago, throughout Chicago, really helped that to happen. So the songwriting came from those places. And when I began to write songs, like I started to like notice, that they were good. People were being like, oh my, you're like, this is, what I'm saying? Like you felt something from it. It wasn't just, oh man, you're good, keep doing it. It was more so whenever I did it and I, got the team together and we would, do it together, it felt right. It felt good. It felt like this is going to impact the world. This is going to help somebody. This is because it's helping us right now and it's sending us to a wave right now, So, so that's why I just continue to do it, because I just had a strong pull to do it. I'm like, I guess this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And it just kind of grew. It just kind of grew from there.
And so now you have a Grammy as a songwriter. And for them who are wondering what album that is from, that's from Ty Tribbett's Greater Than. It's amazing. That's how you started with rap songs, and now songs for famous artists. And also I got to say, on Easter Sunday, you posted a teaser that just drove me crazy because it was so cool. Because you talked about arranging for other people's songs, and you made a rendition of Fred Hammond's "Celebrate" or "He Lives," and I think I'm going to show you a little clip of that.
brothers. His name is Warren Brown, right? And he is one of the, dopest musicians. He, puts out all of these, arrangements. And he has this movement actually for musicians called Yank Nation, the Yank Nation, right? And he puts out all these arrangements. He's one of the most brilliant, creative, individuals. So he created this track for "He Lives" by Fred Hammond, and he, asked me to put my thing on it. So we, went in and, did it. It's sort of his baby, and I just, I created my vocal arrangements to it, and it was so much fun, man. It was so dope. Like he's so dope.
Yeah.
And it came together really dopely. Yeah, it was just beastly. It was beastly. It was fun.
That was amazing. And you have a lot of other songs that I really enjoy. I mean, I know you said one time to me that you didn't want to be famous.
Yeah.
That's why maybe a lot of people haven't heard songs yet, because you like to write it, you like to arrange it, and you like to play it, but you don't really want to be the artist out there. And so
it's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah. But there are a lot of amazing songs out there that I think people should hear. But before we hear any of that, maybe you can share a few fundamental tips to those who are interested in starting to write songs, or have been writing a little bit but want to make it a little further. What would you say are some of the basic tips?
Some of the basic tips for songwriting, I would say, one is find out what your story is. What is your language? What is your passion? Since that is going to be your fuel. Two, find a way to structure that through, verses, choruses, pre-choruses, and things like that. And, with that method, maybe it would take someone to help you do number two. Number three is, as you are structuring your ideas and your songs, make sure that, what you felt when you first started, like that energy, that you continue to feel that. Because if you feel that, 9 times out of 10, other people are going to feel it as well. And that's the most important thing. It's like people will never forget how you make them feel. People will also never forget a simple melody, simple lyrics, things that rhyme, and things that take you on a journey. So that's also is that number 3 or number 4? It's also memory. For example, ABCs. Most of us would know our ABCs without the song, right? If you just said a regular, what comes after G?
H.
H,
I, G. No, don't ask me.
You talk too long. You see what I'm saying? So you got to start the song. No. So you talk too long. That's what I'm saying. So you need the song, because the song has A, B, C, D. You have your H, right? So that's what music does, though. It refreshes. It brings back to your memory. Everything that's sort of caked in there, and it helps your brain to also organize your thoughts. It creates magic and poetry. This is number 4 or 5, either or. But it's sort of to become limitless. It's one of my favorite things about being a creator is like there are rules, yes, but they're like you actually create your own world, your physical earth. You create it. You create your own cities and your own towns and your own townspeople. Like it's a whole experience that you get to enjoy, just like when God was creating the earth and when God was creating things. Like the pleasure that, I can only imagine God got out of creating the earth and creating light and separating darkness from the light and creating us. So that's sort of the same energy that we have, because we're made in the image and in the likeness of God. He is a creator, and so are we. So those are sort of my initial thoughts and some of the initial tips.
I said I was going to give one tip. I'm not a songwriter, but there's one thing in the Bible that I've read, and this is what we base a lot of what we do off of in GTM Ministries. It's Colossians 3:16, and it says, "Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly." And then you teach and you admonish, through the song, but you can't do it if you don't know the word. So I want to say, if you're writing Christian music, to make sure it's doctrinally sound, is biblically correct,
Yes.
as you are actually conveying God's message. And so you can't use it for what its purpose or what it's supposed to be for if it's not correct. If it's just your opinion or if it's a little off, it won't really be God's message. So that's like a tip for me to anyone who's going to write Christian music, to make sure you know.
Absolutely. As artists and as writers, you know, not only do we have a job to inspire and give hope, but we also have a job to tell the truth. I think that is also missing from the conversation, specifically with Christian music today. You don't have to be preachy, but certainly if you're not helping to teach the culture, somebody else is going to do it, and it's not going to be in the right ways. Like, somebody's going to teach the culture. So it might as well be, you know, those who have God's heart in creative ways and with sound doctrine. So you have to be, you know, in your word, not just by yourself, but the, you know, scriptures also tell us, how can they hear without a preacher? So if you don't have a pastor, if you don't have people that, you know, you're learning from, how do you know if it's sound, if it's correct? So you need to make sure also that it's important to have, you know, a group of individuals that help keep you on the right track, and a pastor, you know, to help teach you.
These are some really great tips, Jason, but this is just the beginning. I asked you not to share too much because you do online classes, which is perfect for this time of quarantine, because usually you're out and about doing a lot of things. You may not have time to really take students that can learn from the best. Jason is amazing at this. So
Thank you.
They want to take online class with you. Would you let us know how they can go about it? How can they contact you?
Yes, so they can contact me via my website, tailormadesom.com. So you can do that, or you can email me at Jason, Jason, at tailormadesom.com. Or send me a DM. A lot of what I'm doing are Zoom classes, are FaceTime classes. A lot of them I'll, you know, do even through Instagram. People just DM me, you know, my Instagram, Jack Music One. Follow me, send me a DM, and we'll set it up. It's the easiest process ever. We have sort of lowered our hourly rates to help to, you know, cater to the time where people are, you know, experiencing difficulty financially. So you know, took a little bit off. It's one-on-one classes, and pretty soon I think I'll, you know, open up to group classes again via Zoom. So that's why I'm pretty excited.
So you have your contact information below this video as well, so people can go.
Cool.
They don't have to remember it all, but they can go and check you out and take advantage of your special. I think you have a $50 special right now, right?
Yes. Sign up right now. Listen, stop this interview. Go to my IG, send me a DM, Jack Music One. Jason, I want to take a class. Just turn it off right now.
But hurry up and do it, though, because you really have a great opportunity to do something super productive and get better while you still have to just be at home and maybe not so much.
It's a whole lot of fun. It's a whole lot of fun.
Well, before we go, Jason, will you share one or a few of your songs with us and just share why you share those songs?
So so one of the songs I wanted to share is a song I did a while back. It sort of deals with a lot of what we've been talking about. It's a song that's called All I Need. I haven't released it yet, and I'm trying to figure out when I want to release it, but I'm going to play a little bit of it for you, just like let me know if you can hear it. And I'll also send it to you. So
out of all the things that we want in the world, those things have failed us. But it's you that has given us life. Sitting, watching, waiting, hoping for the world to change without him. Without him. We be the boss, but count the cost. Our world is rearranged without him. Without him. Without him. Yeah, I know we've come a long way, but we're going to an early end without him. without him, without him. You see, there's no life, no joy within, no happiness, my friend, without him, without him. And that's why I wanna sing about Jesus. I wanna sing about Jesus. I wanna sing about him. I wanna sing about him. I wanna sing about Jesus. I wanna sing about Jesus. I wanna sing about him. I wanna sing about him. It's all I need. It's all I need. Our schools, our homes have lost their song. Our world, it don't seem strong without him, without him. Spiritual poverty on the increase. Our blinded eyes can't see without him, without him. We sing right is wrong and wrong is right, but we do not have a fight without him, without him. We know that sunny days are gonna come our way, but the sun don't shine the same without him.
All right. You like it? You like it?
Love it. It's amazing.
Maybe I'll play a song called "Other World." It's also unreleased. I just want to share some unreleased music, with you guys. Okay. So this song is called "Other World." I'm stuck on you, and it's all I do. Fly away with me to the sky of the world. High away, deep into the sky of the world. Fly away with me to the sky.
I recognize this one because you used it for a marketing thing.
Come on, I did. For the songwriting school,
Yep.
for Taylor Made. See, this is why y'all need to DM me, hit me up.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to play a snippet of this. This is the first song of the album. So here we go.
Never let a day go by without stop and just thinking. Never let a moment pass you by. And never let the fears get the best of you when you be thinking. So wipe those tears up from your eyes now. Woo! Here we go, here we go. Woo! Here we go, here we go. Here we are, here we are. Here we go, here we go.
All right.
Awesome.
I want to play something that a lot of people love. This one. It's called "Sounds of Happy."
All I want is to be happy. Happy. Wanna live my life and be happy. Happy. Put a smile on your face and be happy. Happy. So let's be great and be happy. Happy. We own that new hype from back in the day. If you seen an angel, please send him my way. 'Cause I need that healing water deep in my soul, yeah. Don't want no drama, I just roll with the flow. Baby, whenever I see you, I smile, yeah. And you make all my problems just roll away. And ain't had nobody in a while. But looking at you, yeah, and being with you, said I'm blessed enough to say, all I want is to be happy. Happy. Wanna live my life and be happy. Happy. Put a smile on your face and be happy. So let's be great and be happy.
by the way, that album is called The Multiverse. It's out all streaming platforms, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music. The Multiverse, Jason Taylor. It is something that brings me to life. It is something that I love sharing, mainly because, you know, we get an opportunity, man, to change people's lives, to transform their lives, to help them, to encourage them, to just bring a person's heart back to life.
Jason, I'm really grateful to you for being with me here today and just to talk with me about songwriting and your life and your testimony and all of that. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to end this whole conversation by playing a video or a clip from my favorite song of yours. And can you guess which one that is, Jason? I shared it with you.
Oh, it's Hosanna, probably.
It's Hosanna.
Hosanna, yeah.
So I'll play a clip of that, and then I want to say thank you so much to everyone who was watching, and we hope to see you in the next video. Thank you, Jason.
Yes, I'll see you guys in the DM for the songwriting classes. And thank you a million times, Hanne and GTM, for the amazing work that you guys do. Say, Hosanna. How we love you, Father. How we love you, Jesus. Hosanna. Hosanna. Yeah, yeah. Hosanna. Yeah. One more time, lift your voice. Say, come on. Be lifted high, yeah. Worship you, Lord.